Our first speaker, Julius Adewami. The Turning Point. The Turning Point, Julius Adewami.
It was the summer of 1979 in Lagos, Nigeria. The birds were chirping, the palm trees were swaying amidst the cool Atlantic Ocean breeze. It was that time of the year when all little boys and girls were awaiting a little piece of mail. A piece of mail that I later learned would lead to the turning point in my life. Now, what is this piece of mail, you ask? The annual report card. Mr. Contest Chair and friends, see, the annual report card in Lagos, Nigeria is emotionally like a yearly ACT. There's one difference. You're graded and positioned according to your performance in the classroom. So in a grade of 150 kids, if you were in position number 1, you'd be the smartest kid in the classroom. And if you were in position number 150, you'd be the kid with the biggest room for improvement. My sweet spot was between 50 and 75. Don't call me ambitious. Report cards and African parents stimulate conversations. Conversations about the human anatomy, more specifically, the brain. In my household, it was my brain. And it used to go like this. Julius, the kid in position number 1 or 2, did they have 2 brains in their head? Oh no, wait a minute. Maybe during creation, the good Lord gave them a brand new brain, but gave you a fairly used one. Hey, listen, I never spoke back to my parents, because you have to understand, I had a pretty mysterious report card in those days. One year, it was found in the back pocket of my pants in the laundry room. Another year, it was in the entertainment center, just where my dad sits in the living room. Another year, it showed up 2 days before we returned back from summer holidays. On this glorious day, I came in from summer camp singing, I want to go to America, I want to go to America. And I looked in the living room, and there my dad sat with his hands in his face, looking at a piece of paper on the table and shaking his head. Yes, you're right. It was my report card. I was out of my sweet spot. I was out of my comfort zone. And the recommendation by the school board was I was to be held back. This was embarrassing. As I watched my father from afar, fear ran through my heart. This wasn't the acronym false expectation appearing real. This was real fear. This was forget everything and run. I avoided my father all summer long. When he was in the living room, I made sure I was in the dining room. When he came into the dining room, I made sure I was in the kitchen. When he came in the kitchen, I jumped in the pantry. I was out of sight. It was embarrassing and painful summer. Well, I returned back to school the first day of school, and I sat in the classroom. It was painful and it was embarrassing. You see, in Nigeria, if you're a senior student, all the junior students are like second-class citizens. And I was now sitting in the classroom among second-class citizens. I couldn't take it. I just could not take it. I couldn't wait to get home. I got home, I went to my mother. I said, Mom, I need a favor. She said, what's that? I said, Mom, I need you to pay for these exams. I want to take it at the same time as my senior students are taking it, my classmates. I want to take it at the same time. I need you to pay for the syllabus and pay for the exam, and I'll take it in a public examination center at the same time. She said, what are you talking about, boy? You cannot even cover 1 year's material in 1 year, but you want to cover 5 years' material in 1 year? Get out of here. I said, Mom, please, I beg of you, please, Mom. I'll study, I'll do whatever, I'll study. Just do it, Mom, please. She looked at me with those beautiful motherly eyes and she said, okay, Julius, okay, I'll pay for it. but don't tell your father. This was the most studious year of my life. I studied during the Christmas breaks, during the Easter breaks. Anytime I tried to slack, my mother had her size 9 up my rear end to motivate me. Motivated and encouraged by my mother and my father's intolerance for mediocrity, I took the exams and I passed. This was a turning point in my life. You have to understand, this was the first time in my life that, motivated by the pain and embarrassment of failure, I set a goal. And with the support of one of the 2 most important people in my life, my mother, I achieved my goal. Sure, I had excuses. Listen, I had knee surgery at the beginning of the year. I was out and I missed a month of school. But in all this, I learned excuses are merely monuments of nothingness. They build bridges to nowhere. See, those who use these tools of incompetence are really masters of nothingness. I also learned that courage doesn't roar. It's that quiet voice at the end of the day that says, I will try again tomorrow. When was your turning point? And who encouraged and inspired you through your turning point? Who have you inspired and encouraged through their turning point? And if you were to get a report card of your entire life today, would you be avoiding your father? Mr. Contest Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker, David Kincaid. Focus your magic. Focus your magic, David Kincaid.
I'm going to talk about magic. Raise your hand if you believe in magic. Well, you're in luck, because I'm a real magician. And real magicians can make elephants appear, or they can make you vanish. Or a real magician could reach into this hat and pull out. Well, you're out of luck. Because I can't do any of those tricks. Because they're just that, tricks. I want to talk about real, everyday magic. You see it everywhere. You and I have magical powers that can change lives. We can all be magicians if we focus that magic. Mr. Contest Master, my fellow magicians, what is real everyday magic? Arthur C. Clarke says that advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Therefore, to a man from 1,000 years ago, things like cell phones and televisions, cars and airplanes would all seem like magic. Heck, to a guy my age, the internet seems like magic. And I'll bet to some of you men out there, women seem like magic. But my point is, there is magic in the mundane. Let me say that again. There is magic in the mundane. And I'll give you an example. I'm fortunate to work with a charity that provides free eye examinations and free eyeglasses on a mobile van to kids in need. Some of these kids have special needs. Kids like Kenny. Kenny was 15 and autistic. He couldn't answer our questions or take directions. In fact, the whole time Kenny was with us, he was having a wonderful conversation with Kenny. And that made the job of examining his eyes pretty tough. And that's probably why he had never had an eye exam before. But our doctor was able to give him an exam, even though he's sitting there yammering away, just like she would for any other unresponsive patient every day. And guess what? Kenny needed glasses. So our lab technician made Kenny a pair of glasses right there on the van, just like he would for any other patient every day. And he took the glasses and he put them on Kenny. And there was silence. Kenny stopped talking. Kenny was looking at the eye chart. He was studying the eye chart from top to bottom. And then he turned and looked at the doctor and he smiled. And he said one word. Magic. Magic. With that one word, Kenny had told us that his entire world had changed. What was simple and mundane for the doctor and simple and mundane for the lab technician, for Kenny was life-changing magic. And the wonderful thing is that you can see magic like that every day. In fact, not long ago, I was in line at the service desk at Walmart. I had to return some slacks that weren't slack enough. And I was behind a woman who was having a terrible time trying to send a very large money order to her family in Arizona. She was getting angry and frustrated with the clerk because he was breaking it into small money orders. And the clerk was getting angry and frustrated with her because she didn't understand why he had to do that. And then there were 16 people behind me who were getting angry and frustrated with the both of them. So I decided it's time to focus a little bit of magic on that woman. So I stepped up to her and I explained that there was a state law that required the clerk to break the money order into small money orders. It seems that some bad people had ruined it for the rest of us. Well, she got that. She understood. And she laughed. And the clerk looked at me and silently mouthed, "Thank you." So I told him he better check his paperwork because the abbreviation for Arizona is AZ, not AR. That made both of them laugh. And they focused their magic, and they solved their problem. And I felt like a magician. But there were 16 people behind me who were not amused by all of this. But hey, a guy can only focus his magic in one direction at a time, right? Friends, do you know someone who has something that's out of focus in their life? And do you wish that you could wave a magic wand and make it better? It might only take a well-placed word or a timely phone call or a hand up to change someone's life. You and I have magical powers. Remember Kenny and how his magic was his focus. Remember those magical powers that you have. You have the power to change lives. And then you can be a real magician.
Our third speaker is Sudarshan Ananan. His speech title, "A Million Ways to Make a Difference." A million ways to make a difference. Sudarshan Ananan.
It was April 2015. An earthquake struck the country of Nepal, leading to widespread damage and loss of life. I knew exactly how I could help. I logged onto Facebook, updated my status, and liked a few posts. But does that really make a difference? Respected contest chair, and anybody else who has ever felt the need to make a difference. What else could I do? I am a graduate student at the university. My debts rise like the price of Apple stock. And my salary fluctuates like the price of gasoline. Maybe if I have $1 million, I can make a difference. Later that day, I was invited to help with a fundraiser organized by the students from Nepal. They planned to set up a table in a public place and ask for donations. A little voice in my head said, "This is not going to work. People are self-centered and nobody cares." But I found it really hard to refuse, and against my better judgment, I agreed to help. As time passed, I noticed that many other people had the same lapse of judgment. Local businesses offered to provide free food and drinks to help us attract potential donors. One student even offered to provide free coffee for anybody who stopped by our table. My skepticism began to vanish, and I thought, maybe, just maybe, if we work together, we can pull this off. A few days later, at 8 a.m., we set up a table with lots of free food and a big donation jar. 2 hours later, in spite of all the free food and my competent Toastmastering skills, we collected $5. The little voice in my head began to say, "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so." Until one lady walked up to the table, took one look at the big empty donation jar, reached into her pocket and dropped a $100 bill. I had never seen a $100 bill before. We were so shocked, we stood there doing. We did not even say thank you. After that, we never looked back. Around 11 a.m., as the students began to wake, donations came pouring in. We noticed that people donate more money when the jar was empty. So we emptied the jar at the other end. Sometime after noon, this tall guy wearing a Darth Vader t-shirt walked up to the table, helped himself to some donuts, a piece of pie, some bagels, and some coffee. We stood there doing. Finally, he got the hint and went. He said that he did not have cash with him and he will be back after a quick trip to the ATM. The little voice in my head began to say, "Yeah, right. Welcome to the dark side." But 30 minutes later, Darth Vader was back with a couple of 20s. And I learned that I should have more faith in humanity. At the end of the day, we sat down to count the collection. As we sat there, surrounded by little piles of currency notes, we felt like drug dealers. We had collected over $6,000, far beyond any initial estimates, far beyond what you will collect in the silent auction. $6,000. That is 6 months' salary for someone like me. $6,000. Something that we could never have achieved had we not worked together. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many issues that bother me, but every time I try to do something which will actually make a difference, there are voices in my head which say, you don't have enough money, nobody will help you. Even if you do something, it will not really matter. But that day, when we collected over $6,000 for earthquake relief, I realized that we don't really need $1 million to make a difference. That people are always willing to help. All we need to do is ask. Every little bit matters. At the very least, it matters to me. Now think of any issue that bothers you. Maybe it is global climate change or rising income inequality. Maybe it's about preventing animal cruelty or helping people who hear voices in their heads. Don't be afraid. Focus your magic. Reach out to people and remember, there are a million little ways in which you and I can make a difference.
Our fourth speaker, Anuja Singh. What's your choice? What's your choice, Anuja Singh?
I was 7 years old, and I was standing at the starting point with 10 other kids waiting to get to the finish line. On your mark, get set, go! And we started running. I looked behind, I was leading. Suddenly, I tripped and I fell. I looked behind, I was not leading anymore. Contest check, fellow Toastmasters, and all those who have ever fallen in front of someone. Just like you, I too was hoping no one noticed. By this time, my mom came running to me. Sweetie, what happened? I saw you trip. So what if you fell? So what? I was confused. Wasn't this the part she was supposed to hug me, feel bad for me? She went on. Sweetie, you had a choice to make. You didn't have to stop and stand here. You could have got up and started running. Disappointed, I walked off. 12 years passed. My relationship with my ambitious mother further roughed up. Why? Have you met a teenager? A rebellious one. You must be thinking, what's the difference? My report card and I did not get along too well. All I cared about was looking pretty. My nails, my mascara, my boyfriend was the world to me. Mom, she was my arch enemy. But she wouldn't give up. Sweetie, you have a choice to make. You can stay a loser or work hard, fix your grades. She called me a loser? Bang! I slammed that door and I walked off. Only this time, I walked out of my house. I made the choice of freedom. Had a job, not so good. Started doing a business that helped me grow. My credit card bills. I quit it. I got into a relationship. My heart was in it. But a relationship that sunk faster than the Titanic from day one. As I watched it go down, had to do something about it. And I did. I quit it. 6 years passed. I was sinking deep in depression. My bank balance and I were left with nothing but loneliness. So I decided to go back home. My mom was very happy. She hugged me, she kissed me, she kept speaking to me. I don't remember a word of what she told me that day. I only remember being there, not feeling lonely. But those days, my mom looked a little tensed. She often read a book, and I was curious. She told me that she cleared an interview for promotion, but she was not being given promotion because of her eyesight. She went on to tell me, "Dear, I lost my eyesight in my left eye to diabetes 4 years ago, but I can see with my right eye. I've been working with a fully functional eye for 4 years. They wouldn't promote me. I'm reading this book of employment rules so that I can prove to them I'm employable. Lost my sight, not my vision. I'm going to fix this." I stood there, amazed at her passion, sad for her loss, but mostly guilty because I was not with her through all of this. By this time, started crying like a baby, and I gave her this big hug. And I realized my mom and I always had two choices: to quit or to fix it. And she made the right one. It was my turn now. So I went back first to my attitude, and I fixed it. Next to my work, and I fixed it. And then to my relationships, and I fixed it. Today, as I'm standing in front of you, I'm still fixing a lot of it. And I can say, I am a fix master. Oh, my mom, she got the job. She turned out to be a distinguished fix master. Toastmasters, how many times have you quit? Your jobs, your relationship, your health, or your hope, your faith. No matter how many times you might have quit, no matter what it is that you're facing in your life today, no matter what happens tomorrow, my dear Toastmasters, we always have two choices: to quit or to fix it. What is your choice? Honesty.
Fifth speaker, Rudy Yanak. Destination now. Destination now, Rudy Yanak.
The late American writer Henry Miller wrote, "One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things." Where is one's destination? Where's mine? Where's yours? The answer to these questions is simple. It is not a discussion needed to be had by great minds, great philosophers, great theologians. It does not even require a great amount of pontification. The answer is simply here and now. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. My name is Rudy Yanak. I'm a 48-year-old retired pathologist, the 2010 Gateway Area Chapter of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society's Father of the Year, a U.S. Navy veteran, and a 21-year survivor of multiple sclerosis. Though my life with multiple sclerosis is filled with opportunities to live in the here and now, MS presents its challenges every day. My family and friends share these challenges with me, and I know it is not easy for them. I am truly grateful. For so many people, myself included, focus so much of their time, their energy searching for, agonizing over what their destiny in the future may hold, where they feel they should be in 5, 10, 15 years. They fret over what could be, what should be, what might be, hope to be. They forget about what is, the now. They forget to love, honor, cherish what is right here in front of them, the now. Or worse yet, they only focus on the bad and forget about the good. I wish I could sit up here and tell you that I've always lived in the here and now, but it wouldn't be true. Today I'd like to share with you some of those moments. In the spring of my surgery internship at the Naval Hospital in San Diego, 1994, I felt like I was on top of the world. Life could not get any better. About to finish the most physically demanding, professionally challenging year of my life, of which over 20 years later, I still am most proud. Followed by 3 years of flight surgery, with a life I imagine like the characters Maverick and Goose from the hit 1984 movie Top Gun, the cocky, edgy, envelope-pushing fighter pilots. Then, orthopedic surgery residency and career as an orthopod. This was my destiny. During an ophthalmologic examination, an incidental MRI of my brain finding discovered severe bilateral demyelination of my periventricular white matter, ultimately resulting in a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. Just like that, my professional hopes and dreams, my career, my destiny, vanished. The Navy forced me into a career that I had never enjoyed, never considered, and never really felt was a true clinical specialty in medicine: pathology. I did my pathology residency at the University of California, Irvine. Somewhat prestigious program with a few prestigious names in the area of pathology. Could not see that then. Was too busy mourning the loss of what could have been, what should have been. Was too busy being angry at multiple sclerosis for what it had taken from me professionally. I was too busy fighting what was right there in front of me, the now. I could not, did not, would not see the opportunities being presented me, could not see things in a new way. I wanted my destiny back. Anger prevented me from fully accepting the now and engaging myself in my training. Had I done so, it would not have taken the several attempts to pass the pathology specialty boards as it did. Life would have been so much easier for my family and me had I just embraced the opportunities presented. Following residency, I did hematopathology fellowship training, disorders and malignancies of the blood and lymph nodes, at the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. Very prestigious program with many prestigious names in the area of pathology. It was during this training when I began to embrace my new life, embrace the now, engaging my training. Interestingly, once I did see things in a new way, I found my job less difficult than it had been previously. I began began having fun. After a 20-year career in pathology, my symptoms of multiple sclerosis progressed to the point where even the low physical demands were becoming physically taxing. After a 3-year battle to save my job, I took a forced federal disability retirement. Again, did not see the opportunities being presented to me. I could not see things in a new way. Once I did, however, began enjoying my new life. I began having fun. Today, my here and now, I'm a full-time at-home dad to 5 kids, ages 4 to 21, spending my days with my children and working on taking care of my health. These are the moments I cherish. Life could not get any better. Mr. Contest Master.
Our third place winner for District 8's International Speech Contest for 2016, Julius Adewame. Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much. All right. Second place in District 8, 2016 International Speech Contest, David Kincaid. Congratulations, David. Rosanna wants to know if we have to announce this one? First place, District 8 International Speech Contest for 2015, the person that will be going on to Washington, D.C. to compete in the semifinals. World Championship of Public Speaking, Miss Singh. Congratulations to all our contestants. Does she want one more? Oh, she just can't take enough of this photo.
Alright, ready? 1, 2. That's a win. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.